Hi everyone, it's Sarah. I'm sorry. I totally jacked up the intro. You saw the open, then you saw the countdown, then you saw the open again. But the more love we can give to sponsors, the better. If you guys saw what I was doing like 5 minutes ago, which was putting my makeup on, I should do like a day in the life sometime because one time I was at Six Flags still at 6 o'clock trying to make this show on time for 7 o'clock. And today I was with a dog until like 6:10 and kind of close by. But it is always a struggle for me to make it on time. And I really do my research throughout the week just so I have everything in my head. But it is always it is always a struggle for me to get here. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry about my little honestly, most of you probably didn't even notice, but I'm so excited because we have Catherine from Canine Crews here who's also our sponsor. So let's roll out the sponsors. Thank you so much to our presenting sponsors. Canine Crews is the place to take your pet. They offer dog and cat boarding, dog daycare, pet retail, and mindful day school. With over 12,000 square feet of indoor space and a spacious yard, they're the one-stop shop for professional pet care in Chicago. Bark Pouch makes game-changing lickable treats for easy breezy time with your dog or dogs. Their grab-and-go pouch makes treating mess-free and with 5 irresistible, all-human-grade recipes in 2 sizes, even picky pups find a favorite. 1 gentle squeeze and a quick lick of Bark Pouch dog treats, and you'll enjoy amazing attention, even around squirrels. Kiki's Corner Natural Pet Foods in downtown Winfield, just a block south of the CDH Hospital and the railroad tracks. Kiki's has all your food and health aid needs for dogs and cats. Kiki's Corner for a healthy, happy pet. Thank you, sponsors. And I'm bringing in Catherine right now. I can thank her in person for being a sponsor, not just of this podcast, but so many things we do with Live Like Russo. Thank you so much, Catherine. I really appreciate it.
Oh, as always, you're very welcome.
Awesome. So looking back, so 2009, you started Canine Crews. So Catherine and I actually have a lot in common now. We, before we did even with dogs and stuff, but we're both in the pet care industry, which right now is booming on the pet care and pet retail side. But in 2009, everything was new. And I know you've been in your space since 2010, but seeing like how far you've come from then, is it pretty incredible?
Yeah, it's sometimes it's surreal, like to think about like I've been doing this almost 14 years, 14 years since I had my LLC and started a little small. And then about a month away is when I signed the lease for this 12,000 square foot facility and put myself in a big financial obligation. So yeah, and I left a 12-year career to do it. So it was definitely strange. And but how far I've come has been, I forget to take a moment and enjoy it because I'm always about like, where can we go next? What are we doing? What's the next step?
Yeah, and really, I mean, you have built it out and you continue to build it out. We'll talk a little bit about the Mindful Day School, which I think is amazing, which I mentioned in the promo read. And I think too, the pressure, and I feel this every day too, and I can't imagine how you feel because it's almost, how many of our dogs fold in that day, but like the pressure of, keeping not just animals happy, but clients that are this is sometimes their most important thing in their life is their pet. So do you feel that pressure daily to just make sure everything runs smoothly?
Oh yeah. I mean, we are a trust-based business. It's that I can't speak any more highly to that. People have to trust us to care for their pet, and then we have to trust ourselves and our staff that we are going to execute that to the highest of our abilities. So yeah, I mean, when I first started and was working, that 70-hour plus week for many years and really in the middle of the grind, it absolutely takes a toll on you. I felt everything. As tough as I am, I'm a highly sensitive person. So when we would get a negative review or, God forbid, a dog got injured, because these are animals, it's only a matter of time before a dog gets injured or gets sick or, dies on you. It is a reality of working with animals, especially as long as I have. So you, planning for it, you never really can. You work on as much of the training and procedures to make sure it happens, but it absolutely takes takes its toll, and establishing boundaries was not my strength. So it really took its toll for many years because I would be like, okay, sure. Yeah, we can do that. Yes, we'll drive to the other side of Chicago for one dog. And, we will lose money because I care about your dog. And I used to apologize for trying to run a business that made money. And that has really changed because I have 27 to 32 employees that I am responsible for their livelihood as well as the dogs we take care of.
Yeah, what a great point because I do feel like especially me just starting my pet care business. It's so you just want to do everything and you want to please everybody. So, oh, I'm going to drive to Carroll Stream or Streamwood or wherever because I can't let them down and they found me by word of mouth. Like that's so true. And then you get to a point where you're like I can't do this because I'm unfortunately, taking away from my other clients because I'm spending so much time driving. Um, but how do you get through because I've had some of those tough days where I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. And it might have been something simple, like, the leash reactive dog that I walk went after a mailman. The mailman got mad at me, and I'm just like, I want to sink into a hole. But how do you kind of get through? Because you obviously do deal with the lows as well as the highs. But how do you get through that?
I mean, the real situations I'm best at. I work really well under pressure. I've had a lot of training and, I've just grown up in positions and jobs where if there's an emergency situation, I will step in. But like you said, it's the proverbial straw, as it's the death by a thousand words, or I always mess up cliches. So I'm here for y'all to screw up every cliche that there is. But um, one little word or discredit to my business acumen, or um, you don't know what you're doing, or someone that got upset because I told them they couldn't use a flexi lead in my lobby. And, like any little critique that I would get back for the longest time, I took to heart. I had to learn to not read reviews in the afternoon or evening because I would lose sleep for 2 days if someone didn't give us 5 stars or wasn't completely happy with their service. And there's a there's a statistical impossibility for that, but it absolutely gutted me every time it happened. And then I had to find that I had to stop working in my lobby, and I had to create a little bit of a buffer between my skill set, which is organizational and leadership and obviously sales, and the day-to-day grind. And to grow the business, I mean, you got to do the grind. I had to expand before I could afford to expand. I have a 12,000 square foot building, and when I started, I had to employ 5 people. I've never had employees before. I had to learn how to do that. And so it definitely was trial by fire for a lot of things, but I also utilized a lot of resources that are out there. And then I also have a really, really good foundation in a couple. It started as a Yahoo group. It is now a Facebook group of owners of dog daycare. And now we host our own professional conference every January because our industry wasn't being represented in the way that we wanted to. We're kind of an afterthought. We don't fall under veterinary care. We're not full on retail. And the pet care industry was always underestimated, I think, because a lot of it was in home care and they didn't qualify that because my 12-year-old kid could do that. They didn't qualify it as a profession for many, many years, and it's been around. So it's interesting when you take it when you realize the professional level and the organizational level that some of these facilities have, and on top of the like almost corporate level of how we run our businesses. It's impressive, and I'm surrounded by some of the most amazing people in this industry that first and foremost care, and it's also largely woman driven. It's one of the highest woman owned industries as far as corporations and small businesses. So there's a lot of power in that.
Yeah, which I think it helps too to not feel like you're on an island, So if you do have an issue, bang, I can go to this page and these people maybe have been through this before. That's really, really valuable, I think, to somebody that, that is in the business that maybe doesn't know how to deal with this situation because it's never happened before. I love that.
Owning your own business is very isolating. I've said that for many, many years. I have an amazing friend group. I have a wonderful family, but I started this business after ending a long relationship. So I was on my own in a variety of ways, and I took on a major financial commitment that I in all honesty, was completely unprepared to deal with, but my hustle was real and my work ethic was outstanding. So I was going to make it happen, but it's very isolating. It's you are spending a lot of time by yourself. You are spending a lot of time solving problems that most people don't solve on a regular basis. And you are, I always say I'm the jack of all trades and master of none. I rarely get to exercise my strengths. I have to, edit a website. I have to come in and understand Google ads, which I still don't understand. That's another language. And, then I have to, I'm not only the animal behavior and all of that stuff, which has come natural to me, but it's still an evolving science. I have to stay on top of what's happening. How I would handle a dog, 15, 20 years ago is different than how I will handle them and do handle them now. So it's definitely one of those things where you have to make sure that you have outside support and really healthy ways to relieve your stress. And I didn't for many years. It created a lot of weight gain, inflammation. I had back issues. Um, I allowed my stress to consume me in a way I didn't. I turned my hobby into my business, so I had lost my outlet, and it took a few years to find it, and I have again now. So like even my most primal scream days, even with COVID shutdown, and yes, I did a lot of primal screams during that. I still had ways to release that stress that I didn't have when I first started my business.
Yeah, what a great point too. I think it's one thing to leave corporate America, which I've talked about a ton on this podcast, but then it's another to take on all of the things in a business that is really, I mean, it's really you, especially when you first start. It's on you. Like it's on you to bring in money. It's on you to find customers. It's on you to get the building of your dreams. And if you don't do it, it's on you and you failed. So I think that's just a good way to put it, is you really do feel that pressure of trying to succeed, and you've left this major stressor that was a job, but you've kind of put a new stressor on yourself. Wine, which is perfect. But yeah, just a great way to put it. So that's the other thing I wanted to mention is, every time we've done an event, is your staff is just incredible. And I mean, I know they know the animals, and they know the front desk, and I know they know the retail and all of that, but like they are just like genuinely immersed in what you do. How do you find those people to buy in?
Wow, that's been a long journey, but I think that's when I really took a lot of time and, did a lot of research and a lot of personal work to get there. I hear people complain all the time about this generation, this generation. I love this generation. I love the way they answer questions because I'm a 70s child and I forget that I'm getting older. I think I'm still young. And the way they answer questions versus the way I would just shows me how much of a caring, gosh, I mean, just like caring in tune kind of generation. So I think they're really built to be in the pet care industry. My goal, it's funny, is I don't have any children, but I'm constantly raising other people's children. And my goal is that there's not a whole lot of longevity in my particular business. We have a good, but someone's not going to work here 10 plus years without running it. And there's only so many management positions. My goal is to make sure that I keep people as long as I can, that they're providing the proper work and the attitude, primarily. Everything else I can train and work with, and that they're leaving Canine Crews in a better place. They're going to be a better employee for that next job or whatever their career may be. And if they choose to be in this industry, we're really working on ways to expand our business in order to keep them. We hire very slowly. We do it we have a very procedural, methodical process on it, which has evolved over time. All of our procedures are live documents. They're never set in stone. And so we evolve as the industry evolves. And, criteria that I would have had 3-4 years ago, especially pre-COVID, are different now. And I think I hear a lot of companies like, oh, there's no one out there, you can't hire. And, we're short staffed. I think if you're short staffed at this time, you really need to look inward and reevaluate how you're hiring, how you're valuing your staff, and how you are empowering them to be better leaders and better caregivers, because they are there. And every time I lose one now, it just like, oh, I loved having you here. But sometimes I'm also like, it's time for you to go. I feel like you've continued your journey here, And I'm not mad about it. I think that you have a lot of strengths that you can take somewhere else and or move into something that you are going to do maybe for the rest of your life. And, I hire a lot of young people, but I have kind of a little bit older staff right now. And they just, I have some of the best people, and I've always had some of the best people. I have people, former employees that want to come back and work. I have former employees that come just to say hi and step in. And that, like, that's, I had bosses like that. I learned a lot from them. And I hope that, what I learned, I was going to be able to emulate in my own business at one point. And I've had a lot of bosses that weren't great. And so I wanted to make sure I may not remember their birthdays, but I am going to remember that they were good. I'm really bad with birthdays. I may not remember their birthdays, but I'm going to be there to make sure that I have an employee that's in charge of remembering their birthdays because I do care about
And by the way, the birthday thing is awesome. I mean,
it.
it really is
I'm
remarkable.
the worst.
This is a great comment. I love your outlook on employees. You should host seminars for other managers. That's hard to disagree with. Yeah, it is. It's a key thing, especially to retain them. Like you said, some people will use, that kind of thing as a stepping stone, but it is, I think it says a lot about you and what, your philosophies are. If they're sticking around, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, and then the other thing I wanted to mention too that I love about you is that you really do give back to the community. So, Live Like Rue is always involved in West Fest. You give us a portion of those sales, but West Town really relies on you for the fashion show. And how important is that to you to really, not just be this business in the community, but like embed yourself there and be accessible and be talking to the people in the community and telling them like, hey, I'm here. I want to be part of this.
Well, I started much like you. I worked in the steel industry before this. I sold metal for a living. So how did I come to own a dog daycare? I volunteered, and I have some, huge shout out to my old Furry Friends Foundation people. You know who you are. It was an old school rescue on Chicago. It was at Ashland and North Avenue, and I've started volunteering there, and it changed my life. And it was hard. It was horrible a lot of times. But I met some of the best people in the world. I learned a lot. I got over a lot of myths. I was afraid of pit bulls when I got there because my dog had been attacked by one. So I was believing all the myths, and I was like, I'll take the 400-pound Malamute out, but I don't want to take that pit bull. And, I learned a lot about who I was and what the struggle was for animals in our community. And it's hard to explain. I've always said whenever you volunteer, you get it back, threefold or tenfold, depending on the level that you commit. And that was true. So why I give back to community, gosh, because the rescue community in particular gave a lot back to me. When I first started, we had good partnerships. I had almost all my knowledge that I have for pet care came from my rescue work. Originally went to college. I was going to be a veterinarian or doctor. So I have a lot of biology education, but my true experience and knowledge came from rescue. You get exposed to experts and, professional veterinary care and medicines. And I met a lot of vet techs and trainers and, all these things that helped give you more and more information. So for me, giving back to the community is easy. My role becomes a little bit ridiculous because the more silly and I love a good dog pun and dad joke. So the more ridiculous it is, the better I am. And I started volunteering at the Pet Fest area for West Fest before I owned a pet business. And the old owner of Doggy Style Pet Boutique ran it. And I was a volunteer with a live rescue, I think was the first time I volunteered. So I've been doing that even longer than I owned Canine Crews. And when she stepped aside, they asked if I would step in and take it over. And you bet, of course. And then just through my connections, belonging to the chamber, all the other resources that I've used over my networking career, I was offered an opportunity to host the dog fashion shows. And I said, who wouldn't want to host the dog fashion shows? That is absolutely absurd. And I am in 100%. And then I reached out to you because I thought, well, this gets a ridiculous amount of press. I was on the news for it. I can't get on the news for my own business, but you put a dog in a dress and they're going to put you on TV. So how can we make this a fundraiser? So we did a model search with you guys, and everyone wants to be a model. So why don't you donate $25 to Live Like Rue and come be a model? It's just so easy. But it's really complex to run it, and it's not really my wheelhouse. So I actually hire someone to run that event. Seek out the designers, organize it, help coordinate the fashion, the doggy fashion models, and have a lot of fun with it. So you can't complain. And then then that leads me to my one of my favorite events of all time is our Barktoberfest, because who doesn't need a dog in a lederhosen or dirndl? I can't say that word, but anyway. So we do it to help raise funds with Live Like Rue. We get to do some of the best raffle prizes. It's a paid event, and we have the tickets through Eventbrite. There's multiple dog areas for your dogs to play. We have a lot of Oktoberfest beer. I'm getting some of the, some German and Bavarian based wines. We have all we're doing the dog musical sits contest. The dog beer drinking contest is not happening. That's an old one, I think, or I think she had it wrong. But we do have a pumpkin pie eating contest. We have our musical sits. We have our longest sit contest. So and then there's all these goodie bags that everyone gets to take home. So it is just ridiculous fun. And it's a really great way to raise money where you get to come hang out in like a dog bar and your dog gets to play. And you also have professionals there to make sure they stay safe. So, and my staff love it.
I mean, it seriously is an amazing event. Like, when I was watching you set up, and we'll be there again this year, everybody. So Live Like We'll have a little booth. We built out a raffle basket too. But like there's like legit pretzels, and I'm like, oh my god, like it's seriously like it feels like Oktoberfest.
Yeah, I'm reaching out to the Donerman again, the food truck, because they catered it last time. So Donerman, if you're listening, can you reply to my email, because I need to get that booked. But I'm so excited because we do like a brat bar and the pretzels, and then the dogs get their own Bavarian style treats to take home. And the musical sits to the polka music is the best.
So good. It's so good. So you have to get your tickets though, because guys, it was packed last year and it will sell out. I know. So make sure you snag them because it's seriously, it's such a great event and it's hilarious. Like the games are great. I don't even want to ask why the beer drinking got axed. We won't even go there.
We can come back to that.
Okay.
It was frowned upon. No, just say it was just bone broth, and the dogs wouldn't do it. So we went to pump. Some of them don't like bone broth; they're a little picky.
Okay, got you.
But we went with pumpkin and whipped cream because it's like it's like a pup cup version.
Oh, that's cute. I like that a lot. Yeah, you always come up with creative stuff. I love it.
That's my staff.
Yeah, it's so good. Lastly, for somebody that is trying to start a business or has just started a business like me, what is your best or biggest piece of advice that you would give somebody now that you've been doing this since 2009?
Well, first and foremost, I always say don't like a lot of people say they wish they wouldn't have waited so long, but their corporate check was holding them in. That insurance, that security is definitely a real thing. So before you take that plunge, sorry, my dog's hitting the table. I would recommend that you do your research. There's a ton of resources out there. There's the SBA has a bunch of options to help you with researching business plans, financials. There's associations, there's organizations. I highly recommend checking your local chambers, all of that. And then the other thing I would do is I would make sure you have the proper funding. My biggest struggle is I did not properly fund my business. And so that added a level of stress that was intense. And, I did a lot of things wrong in order to kind of self-correct that cash flow challenge. And I've always run a profitable business, but I just couldn't get in front of my cash flow. And it's a weird industry. It's a little more challenging to get funding. And being a woman also can be a little bit of a conflict on that. So I kind of went away from looking for traditional rounds of funding and just did it myself. And then COVID was a nice little reset. I said, I'm going to stop trying to be everything to everyone and have really clear boundaries. And then just look for ways to eliminate anything that wasn't making me the right profit margins and move forward in the things that were and celebrate those successes. And let's see, I guess the last thing I would do was just do it. What's the worst thing? You fail? Man, I have made a lot of mistakes in this. And I will tell you, I've learned more from every mistake that I've ever made than just coasting. So I left a great job. I loved my career. I still meet up with my women in the metal industry. I will love those steel divas forever. But I have absolutely no regrets in doing it, even in the hardest days, even through the primal screams. Um, I've been in this industry longer than I've been in any other, so it is who I am. And I still make mistakes, but I still think that I do a lot right, and I have an amazing staff that are just killing it right now. They're just doing. I can't wait to keep moving forward in my next adventures.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the key is to like surround, like even with Live Like Rue, like just surrounding yourself with people that are better than you, and you have to let go. I was just talking to Dawn from Young at Heart about that, just how hard it is sometimes to say, okay, you need to do this, and once you do that though, it really does help. So
I've fired customers in the past. I've just like, you are
yep.
just such a negative energy, or um, you can come at me anytime you want, but you come at my staff and you want to see me, you want to see the Southern Arkansas come out of me. Yeah, don't come for my staff. They are amazing, and they don't have the skill set to always handle an upset customer to an inappropriate level, but I do. So I will come in and but also if you're not happy with us, there's a lot of dog daycares in Chicago. I don't know if y'all realize it's a fairly saturated market. So there are a lot of options, and there's a lot of amazing ones. I play nice with others, and I think that this is a locationally specific industry for a large portion of it. You can't add a lot to someone's commute or day in order for like a regular daycare portion. So like you have to be able to support other small businesses and know that we don't all have to be swimming in the same shallow pool. There's plenty of dog owners in Chicago.
Yeah, that's a
Or
great
excuse
point
me,
too.
and cat owners because of Kitty Cruise.
Yeah, yeah, you got Kitty Cruise now too. Oh, yeah, before you go, I did want to talk briefly about Mindful Day School and just why you decided to add that, and just start with like what is it?
Well, there's two things. So we have expanded fully. We're doing actually day school training. We're expanding to full training in our daycare, and then with more expansion into 2024 for group classes. But it started with our Mindful Day School. Um, I worked in rescue. I have had a ton of dogs come through my daycare that just aren't suited for our daycare. And sometimes I can refer them to other daycares. Maybe they run smaller groups. Maybe they are smaller because we are a big space. We're a bigger setting. We do have 5 to 6 groups. So mindful day school is really for those selective, antisocial, um, possibly even anti-dog dogs, and they need a place to play and be enriched. So it's pretty much one-on-one care. They rotate through crates and kennels. Sorry, my dog's fighting the other dog for he wants her bone. It's a place for them to hang out and do puzzles and do mild elements of training, to have a treadmill to get some exercise. They also will do, like a scavenger hunt for nose work. They will have, like ramps and tunnels and all kinds of things. So it's a lot of one-on-one curated activities specific to that dog that allow them to go home mentally and physically tired in a way that they probably don't always have an option to do. And
Yeah,
we do it for you, so you don't have to be there.
yeah, which is so great, and I think it's really like a great offering for a lot of dogs that need it. I mean, the dogs that can't
Yeah.
go into a normal daycare. It's really really smart. You keep
And they're
evolving with it.
thriving, and the owners, some of the dog owners, like, they're just, like, so grateful because it's hard to have a reactive dog in this city.
Uh-huh.
It
Yeah.
can take a chunk of your life away, and I've watched people just, like, look at me like, "Help me. Give me give me something that I can do that's gonna make my life better, that's gonna give my dog the fun and the environment that it deserves." And when you live in this large city like Chicago is, it's really, really hard to provide that. So yeah, I'm very excited about it. And we do that on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then Monday,
Well,
Wednesday, Friday is our day school training where we do puppy fundamentals, and we also do beginning fundamentals, which is basic training, as well as, I'm so sorry, he's
it's okay.
really, his bone is done and he's finished it. But where you get basic fundamentals and beginning fundamentals, which is just training and manners, and with as well as enrichment and exposure. Like we take them to the grooming room, we do loose leash walking. They also get time in group And then you can go even further into distracted, commands and things like that. So we're really excited. That starts on October 2nd. So we're running, we're just enrolling right now. So we're very excited about rolling that out starting October 2nd. That's a big one.
Yeah, go to caninecrews.com, guys, and sign up if you're interested. And just a reminder, Barktoberfest minus the dog beer drinking contest, everybody.
Well, we'll see. You never know what happens.
Yeah, you never know. October 14th from 12 to 3. It is seriously, it's a great, great time. But you've got to go get your tickets. caninecrews.com for tickets, Catherine?
It's on Eventbrite, but you can look on our Instagram. So check out Instagram or Facebook, but Instagram at Canine Crews. And it has a link there.
Okay.
And then I think the link's on our website. If not, I will put it there when I leave.
Yeah, you look at you, webmaster now. It's just right. That's how it is when you run a business. Thank you, Catherine. That was good. It was very candid. I know that you're going to come back on. We're going to have some pretty cool podcasts where we're going to discuss all the things. You never know what we're going to talk about, but this was great. Just a little introduction to you and Canine Crews and all you've done. And thank you so much again for the sponsorship and for supporting Live Like Rua. It means so much to me. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for doing this podcast. I really appreciate you helping make sure that our industry has a voice. It's really nice to see.
Yeah, so important. It's so important. Thank you, Catherine.
And welcome fully to our industry with your small business. I'm so excited for you.
Yes, thank you. And everybody go like and follow and all of that. Canine Crews, really important to support local businesses and all businesses, honestly. But have a great night. Pet those dogs for me. I love them.
All right, we'll do.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Everybody, Catherine from Canine Crews, thank you again to her for sponsoring. Speaking of sponsors, here come our supporting sponsors. Thank you to the following supporting sponsors. Twin Tails Market and Barkery is a local family-owned business that has been serving the community for close to 7 years. Located in Palos Park, Twin Tails has everything you need to give your dogs and cats healthy and natural foods, treats, chews, toys, and so much more. You can also find them at www.twintailsmarket.com and on Facebook and Instagram as Twin Tails Market. At the Canine PT, we're dedicated to enhancing the lives of your four-legged companions through canine rehabilitation services. Throughout October, we're showing our appreciation for word-of-mouth referrals by giving away a play session at Bodley's Backyard to our top referrer. For more information, visit the Canine PT. That's THEK9PT.com. Anything is Possible is Chicago's premier dog training company. They offer group classes for every stage of your dog's life and have a talented team of behavior specialists to work through any issues that need modification using positive reinforcement. Liz Starks at Guaranteed Rate. Check with Liz for the absolute best mortgage options. She helps when others can't and even calls it rescue loans. Buyers, sellers, or investors, give Liz a call. She can lend in all 50 states. NMLS number 224526. Kimberly Kingen Photography. Kimberly is a professional photographer from Chicago who loves animals as much as you do. Her pet portraiture celebrates pure love, connection, and the beauty of life with our furry loved ones by our side. Kimberly has done some bucket list photo shoots for our Live Like Rue dogs. She does amazing work. Please check her out for your holiday photos coming up too. Thank you, supporting sponsors. I love all of our sponsors. I personally know them, as I say every week. I really, really appreciate them. It means so much to me to have them on board. Guys, I don't have a guest for next week. So if anybody wants to hop on, let me know. I have a few emails out, but I got a little bit behind. I've got a bunch of guests in October already booked, but kind of have an empty slot next Thursday. So looking for somebody. If you know of somebody that wants to come on or you want to come on, shoot me a message or an email, sarahlouk@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for listening, for watching. I really appreciate it. And I will see you next week.